Okay, so what percentage of your clientele would you say requires gray coverage? Great. Well, that's way exciting that you chose Kenner Color because those clients are going to receive outstanding coverage each and every time. So, I know that we've talked about the calibration of our natural ash, and natural brown series and how to use them when formulating with gray coverage. I just wanted to do some examples and show you how to exactly formulate for this so that you can see how totally simple this is going to be. Okay, so we're going to start out with the natural level of this client is a 6. And the desired level, desired tone of this client is 6RB, red-brown. The percentage of gray is 25%. And then the underlying pigment at a level 6, which we have our nice little cheat sheet here, is gold orange. Alright, so because she is 25% gray, we know that 25% of our formula needs to be a level 6 inch. So we're going to do 1/2 ounce of 6 in, and then 75% of our formula is going to be 6RB plus 1.5 ounces of 6RB. And since we are not lifting, we're just doing a tonal change and gray coverage, our volume choice is going to be 20. So we're going to use 2 ounces of 20 volume developer. All right, so let's change it up a little bit. And we're going to say this client is a natural level 5. This client wants to be 8B. And the gray percentage is going to be 50%. Underlying pigment at a level 8 is light gold. All right, now we have more things to take into consideration here. 50% gray means 50% of our formula needs to be an 8 in. But since we are lifting, we need to take into consideration the underlying pigment. The underlying pigment being light gold, what would you say would be best to control the warmth in the underlying pigment? So that's going to be ash. So 8 in A is going to be perfect for this situation here. So 50% gray, we're going to do half of our formula, 1 ounce of 8 in A, plus 1 ounce of our desired level, 8B. Since we need to lift a little more, we're going to use 30 volume. So 2 ounces of 30 volume. And 30 and 40 can be used for gray coverage when lift is required. So let's change it up a little bit and say time goes on. This client is now almost totally gray. So we're going to go about 90%. All right, so now we need to take into consideration that 90% of her hair needs deposit and only 10% remaining needs lift. So our main concern is going to be depositing to cover the gray. So we are going to use 20 volume this time. We still need to use the 8 in A. So we're going to do 75% since we're almost completely gray. So 1.5 ounces of 8 in A plus 1/2 ounce of 8B plus 2 ounces of 20 volume. All right, so does that make sense to you guys? Do we need to run through a few more examples? If we need to, we totally can. So as you notice, when I'm writing this down, I'm writing it in a certain format. This represents the 5 steps to color formulation. if you follow these steps every time, you're going to come up with perfect custom formulations for your clients. And I always write them down in my formula books so I can look back at them as a reference. Okay, where were we here? All right, 5 easy steps to color formulation. So your first is going to be the natural level. And when you are finding the natural level, you want to use the natural level swatch in our swatch book. And that's important because each manufacturer has various level systems. So when you're using Kenner Color, you want to be sure you're using our swatch so that you can determine the natural level according to these colors. You're looking for light to dark, not necessarily tonal value. So after you get your natural level, then you're going to go on to the desired level, desired tone. You can do this by using the swatch book when you're consulting with your client. Pictures, you know, we all have that client that brings in Pinterest pictures for us, so you just want to be on the same page as your client so that you can end up with the desired result that they wish for. Now, to determine your volume of developer, you need to take into consideration gray coverage. Are you lifting? Are you depositing? Is this a tonal change? And then the percentage of gray. You need to figure that out so that you can determine how much of the natural ash, or natural brown series that you need to use in your formulation. And then underlying pigment, of course, we need to take that into consideration when using lifting 2 or more levels. So I always ask myself, is the underlying pigment going to enhance and make my end result more vibrant, or does it need to be neutralized? So for example, if somebody is a level 5 and they want to be a 7 CG, copper gold, well, 7 is, the underlying pigment at a 7 is gold. So that's just going to increase the vibrancy of my outcome. So you're not necessarily going to want to neutralize that. And that's all I have for right now.